Do you have a general price per square foot?
We do have square foot prices for projects, but it really depends because we do so many different types of construction, from new construction to a remodel like you see here, to basement build outs, to additions, and then to pop tops where we're adding second stories to a house. And so it really depends on what one of those categories that the project falls into. And some projects have multiple categories. So we have so many square footage of a pop top, so many square footage of an addition, and so many square footage of a basement remodel or interior remodel where the structure is already standing and we're just taking it apart and rebuilding it, but we don't have to redo any foundation or exterior walls. But on a new build, our general square foot price is, again, we have a little bit of wiggle room depending on the finishes, but it's right in that $400 to $450 a square foot for a new construction.
How do we get to the estimated and proposed cost for a project?
When I initially put our pricing together, I will go through based off of square footage and put together a ballpark price to give a client a general idea. You know, there's a pretty wide spread there, but it's just a general basis of where I feel like this project could land based off of the finishes, the selections, the appliances, and all the little details that go into building a house. So I first present the ballpark quote. And then if someone is comfortable with that range and they're like, yeah, that sounds like about what we were suspecting, or that's what we were guessing, then once I get there, okay, then I'll dive into the plans much more in depth based off of, you know, what the architect has drawn. And this is when we have a set of plans. If we're talking prior to having a set of plans, like our initial conversation, I would have to strictly base that off of square footage and the discussion that we're having. Are we adding more kitchens and bathrooms versus living room and bedrooms? Because kitchens and bathrooms are our more expensive parts of the build, with all the details and the appliances and the finishes that go into that, as compared to a living room where it's an empty space. You know, there might be some cabinets on the wall or built-ins, but typically bathrooms and kitchens are more expensive finishes. So I can take that initial square footage and what the area is going to be used for and put a ballpark price together. Once the plans are established and they're drawn, I go through those with a fine-tooth comb and I break them down into each line item. And a line item is, I believe our line items now, we have about 150, and it covers every aspect of building the house, from the initial pre-construction to the demolition, to the excavation, to the concrete, to the framing, to the electrical, mechanical, plumbing, drywall, and it breaks it all down. And it's very granular and able to be followed, to see, okay, this is what's driving the cost of this project. And that way, when we're finished getting the price together and we present that to a client, you know, there are notes in there too. And like every time I put these together, I'll make notes of what I'm basing this off of, so that someone can see the price, read the notes, and kind of follow along what each one of these items are that are coming to this bottom number of what the cost is going to be in the house. And we do those with our subcontractors, sending the plans out to the subcontractors, getting their costs from them, as well as using houses that we've done recently for past experience, just to make sure that everything's in alignment. That way, if something sounds really off or looks really off, I'm able to kind of dig in a little bit deeper and see what's driving that. And if I find a driver, I can note that in the notes that I make. If I don't find a driver and something just was incorrect, then it gives me a good opportunity to correct those. So that's how we get our estimated cost, and then that's how we also get our proposed cost, that we put into a proposal, to present to the client, to sign off on the project and get things started.